Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm joined today by Sara Bilton. Sara, why don't you go ahead and take a little bit of time and tell us about yourself and how you ended up at Walnut High School.
Hi, I'm Sara Bilton. For those of you who don't know me, I'm in the math department. I teach Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. And I kind of ended up at Walnut by luck. I was doing at college, I was at APU, and I got assigned actually to Diamond Bar High School for student teaching. I worked under Katie Conley there, and I really loved the district, but they weren't hiring for the next year at Diamond Bar, and so I ended up getting a job at a private school teaching junior high, and that was like baptism by fire, and was terrifying. Junior hires are terrifying. Anybody who's taught middle school, I just applaud them. And it was terrifying, but it was such a good experience. And working at a private school, I think, prepared me really well for just the high expectations that that Walnut has. And eventually, I worked at another public school, and then made my way here. And when my husband and I moved back to the area, and so I just love Walnut. I've loved working here. And all my coworkers.
Well, we're really happy to have you here. You're a fantastic teacher. So last March, we got shut down. What was that like, finishing off the year in distance learning? How did that go, and what was that transition like for you?
That was for me. It was really sad. I love the face-to-face with students and getting to know them. And, you know, I think as math teachers, we're constantly like walking around the classroom, like checking students' work, seeing how they're doing, and just not being able to work individually with students and help them when they need more individual attention. That was really hard. I was really overwhelmed at first, but once I started kind of transitioning over to online, I realized I already used a lot of the programs that I was going to use for distance learning. I just kind of adapted them and relied on them more than I do in the classroom. Things like Google Classroom, Pear Deck. I use quizzes and like Google Slides, all the Google Suite tools. And the only new things I added was recording lessons and Edpuzzle. And I really like those. I don't like recording lessons, but I like Edpuzzle.
Hey, everything happens for a reason. And last, I think it was February, you did a presentation on Pear Deck and ended up getting us a little free trial there, which was nice. Tell us about Pear Deck and how you use it in the classroom for math.
So before distance learning, I used it mostly for reviews. I had tried it a couple times for lessons, but for our lessons, I really want students to write stuff down, and for some of the students it was really difficult to be doing something on their computer and writing it down at the same time. Now they kind of have to do that, so I used it for review, and I really liked the interactive questions. I was able to take the PowerPoints that I already had and just transfer them over to Pear Deck and add questions where they can type an answer or put in a number answer, multiple choice. It has ones where they can draw on the slide, which is really great for equations. I like where they can just draw the equation on the slide. So I'd been using that. And then once we started doing distance learning, I started doing all my lessons through Pear Deck. I take my slides, my PowerPoints that I already had, put them in Pear Deck, make them interactive. And then for the notes and the examples, I record videos and just let the students watch the videos on their own, and they're able to watch it like in the Pear Deck. So that works out.
How has the feedback been from kids? Like, I mean, it's not live instruction, as you know, in the classroom. I should say live, but what's their feedback been using Pear Deck?
So I would say I get like half and half. Half the students kind of prefer the live, and half the students really like the Pear Deck because they can rewatch the video. You know, I post the notes in Google Classroom so they can watch it again if they need to review for the test or whatever. And but a lot of them like the live instruction. But what I have struggled with is like if my Wi-Fi is glitchy or their Wi-Fi is glitchy, or my voice is cutting out or whatever. So that becomes an issue. So I do have like a live portion at the beginning with the students, and then once we get to like specific examples, then I just let them watch the video.
So when you started this school year, do you feel like you were you felt like you were in your groove, or did you feel like anything needed to change as you came back?
I changed a lot from the spring. The spring was like, just madness and just kind of surviving and just like posting whatever I could find. And I really wasn't comfortable like making my own videos yet. So I tried to like find other videos, but like if it's another teacher who has a different textbook, they teach it a different way. And or like, there would just be some things I wanted to tweak about the video. So then like over the summer, I got a little more comfortable like with this Zoom and Google Meet and making my own videos. So that got a little bit better. And then I don't know, I just kind of figured it out as I went along, and, like everybody.
So the math people, that makes them sound bad. The math department, part of it we always struggled with was assessments. I know, we always like to see work, especially with all these apps where you could just take a picture of it. What did assessments look like at the end of last year and this year? What are you using for assessments now? How are we doing this?
So in the spring, I think I kind of just did quizzes. I kind of gave up on tests because I wanted them to genuinely try, and I felt like if I just did little quizzes that weren't worth like a whole lot of points, then they would be less tempted to cheat. And so I tried that. It seemed to go well, but I really struggled writing those Google Forms quizzes. That's what I did my quizzes through, and this was a lot of work, and it just takes time to get faster at it. And so this year for tests, I'm using Illuminate. So I'm taking all my tests, converting them to multiple choice, and then putting them on Illuminate. But what's nice about Illuminate is that they don't all have to be multiple choice. You can do answers where they have to type it in. So usually if the answer is going to be just a number or something they need to explain, then I just leave it as like an open-ended question and they can type in the answer. So that's really nice. Illuminate has been really good. I think we've talked about like it's not super user-friendly, but once you do figure it out, like I've had to like search the help and tutorial a lot, but once you figure it out, then you're like, okay, this is easy and I can use it. So I've been using that. And then for quizzes, I still use Google Forms. And I really love Google Forms just because, it's super easy to grade, and then transfer over to Google Classroom and then transfer to Aries.
So where do you get your ideas from? I know the math department's really high in collaboration. Is it you guys working together? Are you searching on your own? Where are you getting these ideas from for assessments and lessons and all that?
I think like within our smaller subject groups, we definitely talk a lot about like what programs we're using, what works, what doesn't. Like just like last week, Mr. Liu was telling us all about how Casio is offering, like you can use their calculators online, their scientific calculators, which is a really cool way to like show students how to use their own scientific calculators. Because I struggle right now. I'm like, okay, look for this button, and then it looks like this, or maybe it looks like this, and then like right now we're doing square roots, right? Or so we're looking for cube roots, fourth roots, square roots, and like it's different buttons in different calculators, and like sometimes you have to put it in different order. So that's a little bit of a struggle, and so it's nice to find like those kinds of resources. There's a lot of Googling, I don't know, listening to podcasts, all that kind of stuff.
You brought back a scary memory, because when we did trig functions, you had to find like the inverse. And it's like, okay, find the second button and then above the sign. And you're like walking around. Then this one kid be like, well, I have a Casio. And you're like, okay, well, let me see yours. Yours is going to be here. And Yikes. Yeah, I didn't even think of that in distance learning. So yeah, good job, Mr. Liu. Let's talk about social emotional. I've seen your classroom before. You're up around, you're moving, you're interacting with kids constantly. What's that been like for you? And then more importantly, how are you trying to connect with the kids during this time?
I think that's probably an area where I've grown a lot more. I know, you know, when I'm walking around my classroom, I am interacting with students a lot, but sometimes I get like nervous about, you know, I don't want to pry too much, you know, especially the students that are quieter. And so this year I found some really good things that have helped me kind of get to know the students better. Like I've been using Flipgrid, but really only for every week. I just ask them a question and then they record a video response. And the question isn't even math related. Like this week, I just asked like, if you could go on a game show or reality show, like which one would you go on? And that's nice to hear the student's voice, get to see them, get to know their personality a little bit. And then I record a video too, so they can, you know, get to know me a little bit. So that's been a really good way to get to know them.
When we get back on campus, who knows when? No one knows when we're coming back.
Yeah.
Have there been things that you've done during this time that you're probably going to continue to do in the classroom?
I do really miss like being able to help students individually one-on-one, and so that'll be nice. That's like one thing I'm looking forward to. But definitely like getting to know the students more personally is something I really like, and I want to continue using like a lot of the interactive like Pear Decks and other games that I've used like more frequently. You know, usually I would just use them at the end of a chapter just to review, but now like I can use them in class like for a lesson.
What else are you looking for? Like you're back on campus. What are you looking forward to the most coming back?
Well, of course, like seeing other adults and talking to them. I just have a baby at home, so I talk baby talk a lot, and I'm always nervous I'm gonna like start speaking like that in class. And so yeah, talking to other adults and like seeing students. I don't know. I have a weird personality. I don't like public speaking. Like I'm nervous right now, but like in the classroom with students, I think I just love teaching so much. Just being in person and seeing them is just like so awesome. Like I just love it. And so that's something I'm looking forward to. I don't know, for students to like come to my classroom, and I know I try to make my classroom like a safe place for students, and I think they appreciate that.
Okay, so thanks. Now we get to do the fun question.
Oh.
First math teacher on here. Welcome.
Okay.
What is the 2 ambiguity cases for the law of signs?
Hey, okay, that was an interview question when I interviewed here.
Okay, that was my interview question too. Is that like a standard?
Yeah, it has to do with triangles and something about
I blew it. I didn't answer that question.
Sides and angles of a triangle, but I don't know how to answer it. So
they asked it for you too?
Yeah.
What? Is that like everybody's go-to?
I guess. No, yeah, it's like I don't know. I think Tiffany, I don't know, Tiffany or Barbie really likes that question.
I just said I had no clue. I don't know how you answered it. I'm like, what's that?
I probably answered it well because I got the job.
Anyways, your question was going to be something else, but you brought up your own SEL question. So I was curious. As soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Mm-hmm. So what game show would you like to have been on?
Oh, I'm a big like trivia nerd, so I would try to go on Jeopardy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do very good, but I like really love trivia.
I've growing up, and then every now and then if it's on, I can't answer most of those questions. Like even when I get a category like I feel good, I'm like, I didn't know that. So when I got like 1 or 2 right, I'm like, I'm smart. See, for me growing up in the 80s, it was all about The Price is Right with Bob Barker.
Oh, yes.
That's what you wanted, the showcase showdown. And it's funny because as a kid, there was always two. You had like the really fancy, like here's a trip here, here's a new car here.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the more boring ones, like, oh, a new furniture set or a new dishwasher. And it's like, then I wanted the trips, but now it's like, I like that dishwasher and living room set. You change. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, Sarah, I really appreciate you coming on. It was nice to have a math person on here and get to know you guys a little bit, what you're doing. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time. See you.